Inshallah. So one of the first questions is, how do you get more comfortable sharing your thoughts with others, whether that's to a therapist or a friend?
So I would say the best way to do that is to start with yourself first. So a lot of times what I recommend to my patients who are really unsure about how to even open up is to pick the medium that they feel most comfortable with. And what I mean by medium is a lot of people love to write. They love sitting down and typing, or they love sitting down and writing. I would say starting with a journal, starting with a diary, and actually writing your thoughts and emotions out for nobody else to see but you. That's a great way to start that emotional conversation of where am I emotionally? Where am I psychologically? Start with writing it. If you're not a writer, not your kind of cup of tea, great, fine. Open up a Word document, open up something on your computer, start typing. Start typing something about what you're feeling and how you're feeling. If it's got to be a daily journal that you keep online on a document, keep it. That's great. If it's a blog that you have and you want to start blogging about your emotions and feelings, start blogging. Your audience doesn't matter. It's not for an audience. This is for you. That's where you begin with it. If you're more of an artist, you're someone who's more artistically inclined, and you want to express your emotions through painting, through sketching, through drawing, by all means, go for it. That's how you begin starting that. And again, you're not writing or drawing for anybody, you're doing it for you. And then the last thing, of course, is speaking, talking. And if you're having difficulty opening up and talking to someone else, I would say pick your best friend or pick someone that you trust that you can have a conversation with, and slowly begin by talking about the things that you're feeling confused about. Even if the thought is, I am confused about my emotions, that's still you expressing something. You haven't given any concrete details, but you've taken the first step by expressing how you feel. Even if what you're feeling is vague and you don't really understand it, that's what you express. I don't understand what I'm feeling. I feel confused. I don't know what I'm feeling. I feel some type of way, but I don't know what type of way that is. Begin the conversation at the very least with someone that you trust. If you do not have anyone that you trust, if you have family members that you feel do not have your best interests at heart, or if your family is the source of a lot of pain for you and a lot of trauma for you, then it might help you to open up to a friend, or it might help you to open up to a professional, to talk to someone like myself, to talk to a therapist, to talk to a counselor, a Muslim counselor, non-Muslim counselor. It really doesn't matter. Just pick someone that you trust and then open the conversation with. And it's very scary. I know it's a very scary thing to dig in deep and to open up about things that hurt you in the past or things that made you feel a deep sense of pain. But that's the only way to start healing, is to open the wound back up again, to clean it, and to let it heal properly. So I would say that's my recommendation. Write, journal, blog, type, draw, sketch, paint, whatever your outlet is of expressing yourself, express yourself. Begin that process. But the ultimate way to help yourself is going to be through therapy. It's going to be through talking. I hope that helps answer that first question.
Inshallah, I believe so. And I think a follow-up to it was what's a proper way to react and what to do when someone opens up with you personally. What should be some of the signs to look out for that someone may need professional help?
Got it. So first things first, just some general advice when it comes to someone opening up to you. It's going to be a good listener. Ustad Omar Usman, in a previous session before me, had an excellent presentation about communication and proper ways to communicate. I want you to take everything he gave in that previous session to heart, because this matters the most when it comes to opening up about emotions. The hardest thing to communicate about is going to be your own emotions and your own mental health. So that all of his points about communication are going to be critical here. The second thing that Ustad Omar Usman focused on in the previous session was being a good listener. It's not just communicating, it's also being a good listener. And what that means is zip it, quiet. This is not the time for you to talk. This is not the time for you to lecture. This is not the time for you to assume things about them. This is not the time for you to be dismissive or to say, oh yeah, I felt that too one time. I definitely had anxiety too. It's not about you right now. It's about the person opening up. So be a good listener, an active listener. Ask questions. Ask questions. Even if you don't understand something, clarify, ask it. If someone is opening up about something that they were hurt about, ask them, how did it hurt you? When did it happen? How did you feel? What did you do to try and make yourself feel better? Did you do something to make yourself feel better? What do you feel is in the way of you trying to overcome this or trying to get over this? How can I help you to do this? Or how can I be there for you to make this better for you? These are the kind of questions you ask. So rather than making statements during this time, ask questions instead and be a good listener when someone's opening up. Now, what signs do you actually look for? The first thing is look for patterns. Remember I told you guys before in the session, it's not about someone missing one session or missing one meeting or missing one event or not communicating. That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for a repeated pattern of them not doing something. And it's not because they're deficient at their job or they don't care about their work or they're trying to like get fired or they're trying to leave. It's not any of that. It's because there's something emotionally affecting them that's stopping them from doing the job that they want to do. It's your job to not punish them for it. It's your job to explore it with them. And what that means by exploration is to say, hey, I noticed something's off about you. What's going on? What are you feeling? Where are you right now, emotionally speaking? Can I help you with something? Do you feel that it's too much work? Do you feel overburdened? Do you feel overwhelmed? Where are you with that? Let me do what I can to help you with it. Another thing I want you guys to look out for is specifically asking directly, ask directly, are you feeling depressed? Are you feeling anxious? Do you feel that you have insecurities or burdens or problems dealing with other people? It's very hard to ask this question, and it's a very hard question to answer, but you've opened the conversation. That's the most important thing. And if the other person isn't comfortable answering right now, then hey, leave it be. They're not comfortable answering it now. That's perfectly fine. You let them open up when they feel comfortable opening up. Don't force a conversation, merely probe a conversation. It takes a lot of practice to get there, but the more you put yourself in that situation, the more you actually start opening up dialogues like this, the better you get at it. So I would say practice that style of communication, emotional communication. The more you practice it yourself, opening about your emotions, the more you'll help someone else open up about theirs. I hope that helps answer that question, Samir.
Yeah, I believe so. Jazakallah khair. The next question is, what if we are unable to identify if we are having weakened iman or just general insecurity or loss of direction?
Got it. So picture this right now. You're looking at my screen, right? Everybody's looking at my screen. So on my screen, I'm going to draw a circle, okay, with my fingers. Here's the circle that I'm drawing. And on this circle, picture it like a pizza pie. I'm going to cut it into 4 corners, not 8 slices, 4 slices. So you have 4 corners of your circle. This entire circle represents your health and your wellness, your overall health. Now, I'm going to go through each part of the circle. So 4 parts of the circle. The first part is your physical health. That's your physical body, your actual health and wellness physically, your blood pressure, your blood sugar, your vision, your ability to walk, talk, all that stuff, what general doctors deal with. The next part of your circle, the next quarter, is going to be your psychological health, your mental health. How are you emotionally? How are you psychologically? How are you mentally? Then the third part of the circle, the third quarter, is going to be your social health. Social health means your personal relationships, your personal friendships, your family relationships, how you interact with other people, with strangers, with acquaintances, with school friends, with whoever it is that you are in your life. How do you deal with other people? How do they deal with you? And then the last quarter of that circle is going to be your spiritual health. Your spiritual health, specifically with regards to how healthy is your iman, how healthy is your ibadah, how healthy is your relationship with Allah. Now that I've shown you the entire circle, now the way the question has been asked, how do you determine whether something is a matter of iman or whether something is psychological? Picture the full circle I just showed you. Now imagine this. A lot of people feel, now the keyword I'm using is that psychologically speaking, they feel inadequate. They feel like they have insecurities. They feel that they're not good enough. And a lot of times the psychological part of your circle affects the spiritual part of your circle, meaning that you stop praying, you stop dedicating yourself to Islamic work, you stop dedicating yourself to going to the masjid or engaging with your Muslim friends, and you feel yourself slipping away from your spiritual connection. This is one part of the circle affecting the other part of the circle. But it doesn't mean that it's necessarily a spiritual problem. It means that it's a psychological problem. The solution here is a psychological solution. You need to seek out a Muslim mental health professional who can help you juggle and balance both, because it's a mental health problem that's affecting you spiritually. The vice versa situation works too. Say, for example, you feel as if you're missing a lot of your salahs, you're not reading Quran, you're feeling detached from a lot of the things around you that are Islamic. You feel as if you're drifting away from your friends who are more Muslim, you're disengaged from a lot of that. You feel like it's a weakened connection with Allah. And because you're feeling all of this, you feel as if, I don't want to talk to anyone anymore. I don't want to engage with people anymore. I am ashamed and embarrassed about the fact that I feel I'm a bad Muslim. I feel like I don't belong in my community. I don't belong with my friends. And I feel my parents will judge me if they know that I'm not a good Muslim. Now, the spiritual part of you that's becoming hurt is affecting the social part of your circle. The social part of your circle is now being wounded and hurt because something spiritually is affecting you. The solution here is to not go out and like hang out. The solution here is you need a reconnection back with your Lord. It's a spiritual solution. I think we all come from very cultural backgrounds, and our parents had a very different understanding of mental health than we did. So whenever you open up to your parents, or whenever you open up to elders and you tell them, I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling like bothered by something, this is really affecting my heart, their solution for you is always going to be a spiritual solution. Read more Quran, pray more often, make more dua. This is the solution to all your problems. This is the reason why you're affected by all this. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It's not to say that salah and dua and Quran are bad. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying that that's not the core solution here. The core solution here is something psychological. You need mental health is what you need. And then everything else, every other part of your circle will follow. You know, a good example will be physically. Let me take the physical part of that circle out. Let's say you fall and you break your leg. You slip outside on some ice, you fall and you fracture your leg. Now, is the solution here a spiritual solution? If you pray more, read more Quran, and make more dua, will your leg magically heal again? Probably not. That's not how it works. It doesn't make sense. If you went to your doctor and you told your doctor, my leg is broken, and their solution is, here's a prescription, listen to the Quran, you'd be like, dude, where'd you get your medical degree? That doesn't make any sense to me. I need actual help. Give me crutches. Give me a cast. Let the bone properly heal. That's what I need. I need a physical solution to a physical problem. So imagine this for your mental health. Picture it the same way. Draw the circle for yourself the same way I drew the circle, and ask yourself, is it something physically with my body that is off? Is it something mentally or psychologically that is hurting me and affecting me? Or is it something spiritual? Or is it something social? And if this entire thing that I drew for you still doesn't make sense, and you still can't really get it, and don't really know what's affecting what, that's where we come in. That's where a professional comes in and can help you make sense of what's going on inside. So speak to someone like myself, or speak to a professional who can help you make sense of what's going on inside of you. I hope, Samir, that answers the question. It was a really long answer, but I hope.
Yes, sir. No, it was very thorough, alhamdulillah. So we're coming near our break right now. So we have a 10-minute break, but mashallah, we have a lot of good questions still here.
Ooh, can I
want to stick around during the break to answer those questions?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. Absolutely. The next session will be 4:10 then?
Yes, correct.
Okay, yeah. I have no problem sticking right here, Samir, and answering the next questions for the next 10 minutes.
Okay, then we'll go. That question is, what advice do you have if we find ourselves being mentally affected by the issues our youth are facing? And how can we undo internalizing their problems? It sometimes feels debilitating. And I'll post it so you can see it as well. But inshallah, we'll give the people that want to go and have their 10-minute break, they can. And for the people that want to stick around for some of these other questions, you'll be around here then, inshallah.
Okay. So right now in the chat, I'm going to put my gram. It's Big Shareef. So if you had questions and you didn't get the chance to answer them, or I don't get around to your questions, you can feel free to DM me on Gram. I can also put my email here for you too, oshareef@numc.edu. So you can peep the chat and reach out if you guys have any questions or concerns at all. If you want me to help connect you with a professional and you want to start yourself down that process, I can help you do that, inshallah. So please, please, please feel free to reach out if I don't get around to helping you here. So for the question Samir asked, can you give it to me one more time? I apologize. Run it by me.
Yeah, so sometimes you feel that your insecurities are, actually, no, that's the wrong one. Oh, what advice do you have if we find ourselves being mentally affected by the issues our youth are facing? How can we undo internalizing their problems? It sometimes feels debilitating.
Man, I mean, that's a tough question. You're asking me a really tough question. There is no easy solution for this. There really isn't any easy solution for this. The answer I would give you is a very general answer, but it requires a much deeper discussion, to be honest. But the general answer I would give you is that it really honestly comes down to the stigma and the taboo of us not even having this conversation. This is why when you think about it, it's like, well, if I do open up and I do like hear all these emotional problems and issues that other people have, I feel like it's overwhelming to think about this, because every person has an emotional issue. Every person here has something psychological affecting them, whether or not it's a full-blown mental illness or not. That's for me to decide as a clinician. But the point of it being, everybody's dealing with something. Everybody's affected by something. So if I start opening up about this, if other people start opening up about all this stuff, it's going to be like opening the floodgates and just everything's going to pour out. And I don't even know where do I start with helping other people? Where do I start with doing any of this stuff? I would say my honest answer is you start with whatever little you're able to do at the time. You know, the most important thing I want you to take care of above all else is your own mental health. That's the most important thing I want you to take care of. If you are able to take care of your own mental health, you can better help take care of others. You can better help take care of others. I think Ustad Omar Usman had a great thing in his previous presentation on communication, which is you cannot give what you do not have. If you do not have a sense of emotional security and emotional resilience, then how can you give it to others? How can you take on the emotions that other people have if you yourself are not really in a stable place? You owe it to yourself to take care of yourself first and foremost, and then reach out to others. I always use the example of when you're on a flight. I know it's a terrible example now during Corona, no one's flying. But when you're on an airplane and you're flying, the stewardess always says, in the event of low cabin pressure, masks will drop from the top of the plane. Please secure your own mask before you help the person next to you with their mask. Secure your own mask before you help the person next to you with theirs. This is probably the most important thing when it comes to mental health and having a general conversation about mental health, is all of us need to take the first few steps towards putting ourselves in an emotionally better place, and then making an open conversation where everyone gets to share their own emotional afflictions, and we make it more of a normalized thing for everybody, that it's not something unheard of or difficult to hear of when someone opens up about their problems. If someone opened up in this chat right now and said, I'm having a spiritual problem, I feel like my iman is low, you'll have 50,000 people jumping up going like, oh, I got you. Here's this app. Here's this YouTube video series. Here's this lecture by this imam, or here's this lecture by this shit. You'll hit up this thing right over here. Oh, that person has this session. You will bombard that person with so many links and resources and documents and videos for a spiritual problem. But if one person opens up in this chat right now and says, I'm having thoughts that I want to kill myself, I don't want to live anymore, how many people here are ready and willing to give them resources, documents, videos, everything they need on mental health and mental wellness? The truth is, we don't have that. We don't even have a normal conversation around it. So that's why when you fear in your heart, what if someone opens up about this stuff? What if a bunch of people open up about this? What are we even going to do about it? It comes from us not even normalizing that. And when it's not normal, we see it as something abnormal, dealing with it. So the best way to make change is to start with yourself. Take care of your mental health and start opening up about your mental health. And if you don't want to open up about the things that are hurting you, open up about the things that make you feel better then. Open up about the things that help you. I opened up in this session right now about my therapy, that I regularly go to psychotherapy for myself. This is me normalizing the conversation, that I am a healthy Muslim man, alhamdulillah, but I sometimes need help. And this is me reaching out for help. And I'm urging everyone else here to do the same thing. So this is how I would encourage you to open that conversation. It's not truthfully overwhelming. It's really not. When everyone opens up a small bit at a time, a baby step at a time towards it. I hope, Samir, that answers the question.
Yes, amazing, mashallah. So I think we might have time for like one more question, and then the rest, inshallah, if they can reach out to you.
Awesome.
What about peer-to-peer counseling? For example, high schoolers talking to counselors. There's a peer-to-peer relationship, but they may not have the qualifications.
So this is honestly, it's a case-by-case basis. It depends on every single person. My biggest advice when it comes to seeking counseling and seeking therapy is the relationship you have with your therapist is a very, very important relationship. If you do not like your counselor, if you do not like your therapist, if you feel as if they're not really giving you what you're looking for, the kind of support that you need, then there's nothing at all wrong with dumping that person and finding yourself a different counselor, finding yourself a different peer, finding yourself a different therapist. Nothing at all wrong with that. Just because a therapist is bad for you does not mean therapy does not work. It simply means find yourself another therapist. That's what it means. For a lot of people, sometimes opening up to a Muslim counselor or a Muslim therapist is a very scary thing. They're not comfortable with that. They feel that there's going to be some judgment. They feel that there's going to be some sort of like way that you're looking at you or feeling about you. They're uncomfortable with that. So sometimes a non-Muslim therapist is what's best for you. It doesn't mean that like, oh, it's bad, you're not seeking a Muslim's help. It doesn't mean anything at all about that. Same thing for your doctor. I would say the same thing. If you go to your doctor and you feel like your doctor's a huge jerk and you don't like dealing with your doctor, you don't have to stay with that doctor. Find yourself a different doctor, one that you feel much better with. Counseling works the same way. So if you're currently in peer-to-peer counseling, or if you're currently with a school counselor and you feel like it's not working for you, you don't like it, it's not helping you, get a different counselor. If it means leaving the school and finding someone outside the school, go for it, do it. Whatever it takes to get you well again, take those steps to do it. And if you do like your counselor, but they're not really all that qualified, they don't have the kind of credentials you're looking for, but you feel like they're helping you, you feel like they're doing a good job, stick with them. There's no problem at all with that. If you feel you need more professional help than this, then there's nothing wrong with seeking more professional help for that if you feel the counselor's experience is insufficient in that case. I hope, inshallah, that helps answer that question.